This gameplay video is brought to you by Brandon Drennan. A massive thank you, Brandon. Obeka Brute Chronologist versus Tymna the Weaver, Chrome Ludovic's Opus, Zakama Primal Calamity, and Zer the Enchanter. Yeah, it's been a while. Apologies to everyone that wanted to see more cEDH gameplay from the channel. I've been really busy trying to keep new commanders coming out, new decks coming out to keep you all interested in new decks, and just haven't found the time to get some cEDH gameplay in, so hopefully this will pan out alright for us, and hopefully you'll all enjoy it. Kept an alright opening hand here. We've got a couple of lands. We can go Tainted Pact into Oracle, potentially, so yeah, there's some things we can do here. And speaking of lands, getting into another one, so let's go for the Blood Crypt, and that can bring in the Drowned Catacomb in untapped. Zer playing out a Gemstone Mine and taking that straight into Vampiric Tutor. Then it is a Temple Garden from Zakama, and that takes them into a Stony Silence. They could afford Stony Silence because they went for Elvish Spirit Guide, by the way. So getting an extra mana from that. The Scalding Tarn comes down for the 4-colour player. And I'm not thinking there's much of anything we can do here apart from Drowned Catacomb. We can try and keep our opponents from casting anything too crazy. They might not want to play things into open blue mana. We've got Flusterstorm to stop an instant or sorcery anyway. The other two players just decide to pass the turn. A Felwar Stone comes down for Tymna and Chrome. And we get into Pact of Negation, so that encourages me to go for a win condition here with the Grim Tutor. So I think we'll go for that. And it's allowed through by the first blue player. And the second blue player allows it through as well, so I'm thinking we just go for Thassa's Oracle here in typical cEDH fashion. So we'll just grab Thassa's Oracle and pass the turn. Hopefully next turn we can actually go for the win there, thanks to drawing into that Pact of Negation. Alright, the first player not doing anything, then Zakama deciding to play a Blast Zone, and before their turn ends they put another counter onto that. X is 1, so it now has 2 charge counters on it. 5 mana the 4-colour player is up to, thanks to Ancient Tomb. We've got a couple of jewels as well. And they go for Tymna the Weaver. Noteworthy that they are leaving the Felwar Stone open. And then it is a deflecting swap for us, so let's get down our Badlands. We have the double blue thanks to Exotic Orchard and Drowned Catacomb, so I think we just go for the Thassa's Oracle here. We're playing it into open blue mana, but the other two players are tapped out, so I'm hoping that we can Pact of Negation any answer that they might have. And it lands, so with that on the stack we'll try the Tainted Pact. And that seems to land as well, so they might have a means of countering a triggered ability. We'll exile our library anyway. Alright, so there we are with an empty library. One of the players is scooped already, which they shouldn't because there's still open blue mana. There might be a means of countering this yet. But they scoop as well, so yeah, like I said, in pretty typical cEDH fashion, Thassa's Oracle is running rampant. I think that was a pretty quick one, so yeah, let's try another game here. Obeka Brute Chronologist versus Tatyova Benthic Druid, Niv-Mizzet Parun, and Thrasios Triton Hero, partnered with Tymna the Weaver. We've got a decent opening hand, a cantrip, great card draw in Mystic Remora, so we'll keep that. And we're also on the play, so let's get out our Underground River, and we'll go for the Mystic Remora straight away. And the Thrasios and Tymna player matching us and going for a Mystic Remora of their own, so that's the first card draw from the Mystic Remora, already paid for itself. Gets us into a delay. And then the Niv-Mizzet player going for a Mental Misstep on their Mystic Remora, so they're obviously more worried about the partner player than us. But that draws us into Underworld Breach, which is another means of comboing off a Preordain from Niv-Mizzet draws us a Tainted Pact, so might be that we go for the exact same win again. We'll see what we draw into. Just a land from Tatyova, so I think we will pay for the Mystic Remora because I don't see what else we're going to do in this turn. We could put the Isochron Scepter into play and then activate it on turn 3 with a Tainted Pact and try and get into Thassa's Oracle and hope that no one has artifact removal. But I think I'd rather just draw more cards here. So we'll pay into Mystic Remora, get into Dockside Extortionist. Let's drop these Sulphur Falls in tapped. And we can pass the turn here. We're going to have to discard a couple of cards. Let's get rid of Underworld Breach. And Dockside Extortionist, there's no guarantee we're going to see a lot of artifacts and enchantments, so we'll get rid of that. Well, speaking of artifacts, there is a Mox Diamond. Gets us into Ad Nauseam. And they get rid of a Mana Confluence to the Rock. And there is Tymna the Weaver. The Izzet player just holding up mana, and it's a Strionic Resonator from Tatyova, which draws us into a Ponder. And there we managed to make another blue land in Shivan Reef, that's really good. So here I think we pass the turn and we'll try Dark Ritual into Ad Nauseam. That does mean discarding some good stuff, unfortunately. We'll get rid of Ponder and Delay. Delay kind of projects what we might have in hand, i.e. we've got more counter spells, but I think it's one of the worst cards we've got in hand at the moment. Anyway, Tymna swinging in towards us. And they'll get to draw a card there. Following things up with a Bloom Tender. And then at the end of the turn, the Niv-Mizzet player decides to cycle a Lonely Sandbar, so I'm thinking that this is as good a chance as any to try and go for the Ad Nauseam. So we'll go for Dark Ritual. There's still blue mana being held up by Tymna, but yeah, I think I just like the idea of trying to get down Ad Nauseam here. And if they counter, then so be it. Trying to get it through one blue player is better than trying to get it through 3. But it looks like they've got something, and of all the counters, it is a mana drain. So they'll get 5 free mana during their next turn. Glinthorn Buccaneer from Niv-Mizzet. Probably part of an Ophidian Eye combo. Then Tatyova gets down Nadir Kraken. And it's another land off the top for us, so we will play that. And I think before we crack that, let's go for a Preordain. Scry 2 and draw. We might want to make use of the shuffle. There we are, yeah. Yeah, we're just going for the exact same win again by the looks of it, so let's go for Marsh Flats on the bottom and Thassa's Oracle on top. We will draw into that. We've already made a land for the turn, so I think it's just a case of playing it through. We'll get out a tap land at the end of Tatyova's turn. And we're probably just going for another Thassa's Oracle win. Apologies if you're bored of Thassa's Oracle, but this is cEDH after all. Now Thrasios, Triton Hero, with 5 mana available to dump into Thrasios straight away. 5 mana being from the mana drain. And they sink the mana into that straight away. But not getting a land off of it, so Bloom Tender gets tapped for a bunch of mana for the Thrasios again. And again, missing a land, they get Assassin's Trophy and Sylvan Library off of the Thrasios. And then it is Lotus Petal for green mana into the Sylvan Library. And they can't hold up Assassin's Trophy now at least. Swinging in at us again with Tymna, which allows them to draw a card. And then they're just holding up mana over to the Niv-Mizzet Perun. And Niv-Mizzet goes for Frantic Search. And that is surprisingly getting countered by Miscast. Yeah, there might be some interaction I'm not thinking of there. Maybe they just want the Niv-Mizzet Perun player to keep their mana tap down. That's good for us though. It means that we're far less likely to have our Tainted Pact countered. There's every chance that the blue player has a Spell Pierce or something like that in hand though. At the beginning of Tatyova's turn, they pay into the Kraken to make a Tentacle. And then double blue being held up over there, which I don't like. The Kraken swings in towards us. And then it is Oak Street Innkeeper. That is, as long as it's your turn, tapped creatures you control have hexproof. I think I'm going to counter that just for the sake of having mana. And if the Tatyova player has free counter magic, they might use it there, but they didn't. So just 3 free mana for us. Let's get out the tap land in Watery Grave. And we draw into a Brainstorm. So I think we're pretty much playing around just a single blue mana. Obviously there's free counters to worry about, but I think we can only really concern ourselves with the open blue mana. But with the mana from Mana Drain, that makes it a lot easier for us. Let's play the Badlands. Go for Isochron Scepter. I think this might bait some counter magic. So I just want to go for Isochron Scepter. And that came down straight through the blue player's turn, the Niv Mizzet player's turn, so I feel comfortable putting Tainted Pact on the bottom of that, and we'll go in for the Thassa's Oracle win here. Just trying to test the waters for counter magic, and the 4-colour player is the only one that is holding priority. So again, we will go for Isochron Scepter and Tainted Pact with Thassa's Oracle on the stack. And get to exiling our library again. Yep, so the other 2 players scoop, and that is the end of that. So once again, Thassa's Oracle running rampant in cEDH. Let me know if there's any other cEDH decks that I should be trying out. Maybe one without Thassa's Oracle in it, because I don't know, are cEDH players worried about Thassa's Oracle and how it's taking over the format? Is it taking over the format? Yeah, I'm not a competitive EDH player, so you can all shed some light with regards to that. Do it in the comments section and let me know what you all think. I'm tribalkai on the eedi-H channel. Thank you for watching.